Here we go, the Challenger Powerlifting Texas Method. This is a variation of Mark Rippetoe's Texas Method that was designed to be a follow-up to his novice progression found in starting strength. You'll see it's called the Texas Method because it was designed in Texas, and according to Rippetoe, it is indeed a method. Lord Kelvin once said, "If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it." And then Carl Pearson, he said, "That which is measured improves. That which is measured and reported improves exponentially." Or Thomas S. Monson would say, "The rate of improvement accelerates once things are reported." So what we're going to do is provide you a spreadsheet found in Google Sheets that I'll link to you later on. That's going to be your tailor-made workout log. We're going to track the weights that you lift and the size of key measurements, and also kind of keep tabs on each other with respect to personal records. We're really targeting improvements in our total when it comes to the power lifts. The total is that the product of our squat, bench, and deadlift 1 rep max numbers. As you can see here in this template that will be modified for you, and it won't be me doing it. I'm just going to link it to you, and you're going to make your own, you're going to fill in your own data so the spreadsheet can be personalized. But you'll see on mine, over here in the personal records back in 2016, my squat, bench, and deadlift were at a certain point with a total of 1020. And then a year later, I'd worked with deliberate programming and linear progression and got that up by just 30 pounds. But those 30 pounds were hard fought. And to me, that is excellent, excellent improvement, especially for more of an intermediate lifter like myself. Then in May 2018, bumped it up again, this time by even more in a couple of the key lifts, which of course we're excited to see that improvement. And then now we're targeting in 2018 just a 15-pound increase, but those 15 pounds ain't going to come easy. Because you'll see when it comes to powerlifting, and well, really adaptation in multiple domains demonstrate this, but particularly for powerlifting, if you're a novice and you're new to the lifts, you're going to see an incredible increase in the amount of weight that you can push and pull. But that's mostly because you're training your neuromuscular system. Strength as an adaptation, it takes some time. You have to make your bones more dense. The ligaments and tissues that connect your muscles and your joints together have to get stronger, more robust, and durable. And the muscles, of course, have to grow as well. So to make those muscles grow, we have to eat healthy, we have to recover and rest, and train appropriately. So it's going to take a little bit of time. But I guess my point is, as novices, you could potentially really see some dramatic improvement. And if not, if you're already an advanced lifter or intermediate lifter, which is quite likely, well then we'll be satisfied with any improvement, even if it's only 5 to 10 pounds per lift. But if we can get 5 to 10 pounds more on that bar per week, especially per month, and see our totals go up, well, that's a doggone victory, and it should be highly motivating. We're also going to kind of keep tabs on our key measurements, which are largely a product of nutrition, but they're also going to demonstrate if our training program is working properly. It'll give us indications if we're overtraining or overeating. We'll be able to kind of dial that back in by taking measurements. Not every day, not every week, but at least once a month. We're going to track our height, weight, waist, neck, chest, arm measurements. And with the arm, we'll do one relaxed and then one flexed. You got to get that flex number in there because it's an ego boost. Forearm, thigh, and calf. You're going to measure all these numbers, and we want to see, well, height probably won't change. Maybe with heavy deadlifts it might get a little shorter. Hopefully not. But weight, we want to see the weight either increase or decrease. You can see here from February to July, I wanted to decrease my weight in a cut, and so I did. I monitored my macros and reduced my caloric intake, particularly from May forward, and just a couple of months, losing 1 to 2 pounds per week, pulled it down to 165. That's about as low as I'm willing to go. So now I'm about to kick off a new lean bulking phase, and in August we'll boost those numbers back up. But you want to see if you're cutting, the waistline decrease, and if you're bulking, everything should be going up. But particularly your neck and chest and arms and thigh, those numbers should go up if you're bulking. If you're leaning out, then maybe the other direction. But if we're being smart in how we cut, we don't want to see big differences in our muscular size, and we do want to see big differences on our waistline. So our weight and waist are going to be very, very effective measures of our progress. Now with the Texas method, I told you, or maybe I haven't, but I'll tell you now, it is a very simple program. We're only going to focus on recording the 3 key compound power lifts. So we're going to keep close tabs on our squat, bench, and deadlift numbers. Now with the Texas method, the backbone of the program is powerlifting. So Our Monday will be our volume day, getting 5 sets of 5 on squat, 5 sets of 5 on bench. There will be more to the day, but the core, the non-negotiable must-do items are the squat and bench on Monday. Wednesday is going to be a back-off day, where we'll lighten up the weights a little bit. And then Friday is going to be our 5-rep max day, where we are really getting that intensity. And intensity, there's lots of different ways of defining it. To me, intensity is not just the idea of feeling hot and sweaty and tired. That, to me, applies to conditioning and cardio. That can really apply to a metabolic conditioning workout where you've done 50 to 60 air squats and then 30 pull-ups and then run half a mile. These are, to me, this is what you would picture a CrossFit exercise or a circuit drill. That is more of intensity, quote unquote, in the immeasurable subjective sense. We're talking about intensity as a percentage of your 1-rep max. So if you are moving poundages that are close to your 1-rep max, well then doggone it, that is a highly intense exercise. That is a movement with a lot of intensity for you. But if it's less than 60% of your 1-rep max, well, then it's not that intense. Honestly, it's probably a warm-up set, which we do need them. We need to have warm-up sets to get our joints and muscles ready for action. But that's not going to be what we would consider a working set. That's going to help us really overwhelm our body and cause systemic adaptation, because we're looking to disrupt homeostasis. We want to get our muscles into a position where they are so fatigued and they're pushing so hard that they have to grow in order to adapt to the stress that's going to come on next. That's the linear progression. But volume comes on Monday, back-off day, we have a chance to recover, and then Friday, we're getting after it with a lot of intensity. Notice 5x5, 2x5, and 1x5. Whenever I list out these sets and reps, it's going to be typically the sets first and the reps second. So 5 sets of 5 repetitions, 2 sets of 5 repetitions, 1 set, 1 heavy intense set of 5 repetitions. And the squat day, or correction, the Friday intensity day is going to mirror a little bit, it's going to look a little bit in sequencing like a powerlifting competition. And the reason why I like the idea of powerlifting, the reason why I like the idea of focusing on these 3 kind of core lifts and really dialing it in, the form and technique on these particular lifts, is that 1, they're highly accessible. They're not super complex moves. There are ways to mess them up, but we're going to cover those in just a little bit. And 2, they are measurable. They allow measurable increases over a long time. Your deadlift can continue to go up for years and years and years consistently. Your squat, there are some people who never discover how much they can squat because it's an intimidating exercise, and honestly, they can move a large amount of weight. So we're going to try to focus in on these 3 power lifts. Now, just for your sake, as you look at this, the spreadsheet, if you have any questions, you can always give me a ring. But with the spreadsheet itself, you're going to see that these last numbers here are in blue. Now, this is the reps for the final set. We mentioned it in a previous discussion, but this Texas method is not Mark Rippetoe's pure Texas method. His pure Texas method is found in Practical Programming for Strength Training. It's also found on his website, and I would encourage you to go and execute that, to a T if you want to have the distilled, perfect Texas method as produced from the Wichita Athletic Club with Mark Rippetoe. This is not that. We've modified it a little bit, because like anything, I think there's room for improvement. It's a great program, but there's a little bit of room for improvement, or maybe making it a little bit more tailor-made for the goals we have in mind. So for me, I like the idea of really pushing hard on that 5th and final set on Monday. And then on Friday, I like the idea of really pushing hard for that 1 intense set. And not just stop at 5. If I've got more in the tank, then I'm going to push a little bit more. The key is on that final set, or that intense set for Friday, is to push yourself hard enough where you could get every single rep, but not fail. We're not looking for you to have the barbell collapse on your chest. You'll be in a power rack, so you'll be safe, but you should never have anybody else's hands on the bar. If anybody touches the bar in any way, shape, or form, the rep does not count. It doesn't count. If you don't get the proper range of motion on any of these weightlifting movements or these powerlifting movements, then the repetition does not count. We're going to be really strict about that, because we want to make sure that it is you producing the strength necessary to move that weight. So when you get done with your workout, it's going to be motivating, because you'll come here and you'll probably, particularly in the first couple weeks, you're probably going to have more than 5 reps knocked out. So you'll see here I had 255 on the bar, my 5th and final work set, which, by the way, that is 5 sets of 255 pounds. This row is the pounds you're going to push on the squat, and this row are the reps you executed for the 5th and final set. So it's 5 sets at 255. So there's a lot to that. You need to warm up first, and we'll talk about it with the individual lifts, but this is really your 5th set for a work set, but you'll have done many, many more sets because you're starting with the empty barbell. You're adding 10, 15 pounds, then 30 pounds, then 45 pounds. You're adding incrementally more and more weight to get yourself geared up for your work sets, because your work sets, that's when you really, you punch that time card and you get after it. So I came here and updated my rep count. I did 8 that day and 12 on the bench that same day. And down here you'll see, kind of grayed out, an estimated 1 rep max. This is a calculation that there's multiple websites that will give you calculations of your estimated 1 rep max based off of weight and reps executed. And there's discussion in the community whether or not they're highly effective. I think they're very helpful. I think they're very good because you can, they're not a perfect predictive tool for how much you can execute for 1 rep max, but they are a good indicator of whether or not you're getting stronger or getting weaker, or if you're stagnating. So you'll see here that my estimated 1 rep max was 323 pounds based off of those 8 reps of 255. And then the next week, I got 8 reps again at 260, so my estimated 1 rep max jumped to 329 on the squat, which makes a lot of sense to me. So we're going to have this grayed out area. It's going to feed this chart to the right, which is your estimated 1 rep max linear progression chart. Your green numbers are going to be your deadlift, the blue numbers are your squat, and your red numbers are your bench. You'll notice that the heaviest and the strongest exercise is the deadlift, followed by the squat and the bench. That's typically the case. Your deadlift recruits the most muscles, is a shorter range of motion, and people can move a ton of weight when it comes to deadlifting. The squat is a close second, even though the squat is considered the king of all exercises. The range of motion is a little bit more challenging. The weight starts from on your back, and so just trust me, it's a little bit tougher than the deadlift and moving heavier weights. And then for the bench press, you're going to recruit fewer muscles, so it's a little bit harder to, Sarah's mom just called, but it's a little bit harder to push as much weight, even though you can still get some respectable numbers on there. This estimated 1 rep progression, or 1 rep linear progression, 1 rep max linear progression, is going to kind of keep us on track to our targets. You'll see that these targets over here match up with my goals for 2018. So in October 2018, I want to be able to squat 395 pounds. Who knows, maybe even 400 on the day of. But 395 is my target. Because I'm humble. I'm humble enough to realize that a 5-pound increase would be a huge victory, and I'll take it. After I get 395, I'll put on 5 more pounds and go for 400. For the bench press, I'm going to go for 305, you'll see there. And for the deadlift, 425 pounds. So over there, the green, 425, and 395, and then 305. These are all projected off of this goal, and then these projected numbers that come from down here. If you have any questions about it, we can get into some more details. But for now, just know, this is where you're going to get the data. This is going to tell you exactly how many plates to put on the barbell, how much weight to put on, and how many times to push it. For 5 sets of 5 on Monday, 2 sets of 5 on Wednesday, and 1 intense set of 5 after you've warmed up on Friday. These numbers can change. I'm gonna limit you on the 5th set or the intense set of 5 reps plus to no more than 12 reps. The weight may feel really light, and you may want to execute 15 to 20 reps. I'm just gonna stop you at 12, because if you can do 12, the weight is pretty light for you, and you've made that clear. So what we're gonna do then, if you have multiple weeks where you're getting 12 full reps on your max day, well, we're gonna maybe increase your linear progression. We're gonna steepen that slope, and we're gonna add, instead of 5 pounds per week, we're gonna add maybe 7 to 10 pounds per week. We're gonna bump it up enough where you're gonna be challenged, because in my ideal world, you're gonna get at least 5 reps, but no more than 8 reps. So for me, as I look at myself, my bench right there on those first couple days, on the 5x5 days, are at 12. If that continues next week, I might toy with the idea of increasing the weight a little bit. But then I look down here at my intensity day, and it's at 10. If I keep it at 10, then I'm definitely gonna increase the weight a little bit. I want it to be right in the 5 to 8 rep range. So for me, I see here my squats at 5. The best I can do is 5. And then deadlift, the best I can do is 8. Well, then those numbers, they're probably right on track. You'll notice the dotted line, that's our trend line. That's our trend line that's going to keep us on a clean linear progression to our goal. So if we're around or above that trend line, then we're doing good. Then we're really close to right on track. And you see here for my squat, it is almost exactly on that trend line. So we will keep that updated. Like we mentioned, that Pearson's law, that which is measured and reported improves exponentially. Well, I'm going to be the one who's checking to make sure that you're, one, updating your numbers in here, and two, we're trying to look for patterns. I'm going to look at your graph, I'm going to look at your numbers, and we're going to see if we need to increase or decrease the rate of acceleration of how much weight we're putting on your bar. Ideal would be a linear progression, but maybe that's going to be either too slow or too fast. We'll dial that in as we go. The good news about this type of programming with this kind of coordination or transparency is we can all be on the same page. And the key is these have to be real doggone reps. If you're doing 5 sloppy reps, or you're doing a quarter squat, or you're not touching your chest in the bench press, well, now all of a sudden it's impossible to help you, because there's too many variables at play that are making it impossible to predict how to make things better, or how to help you actually grow and get stronger. We got to dial in the form and get that on point. We check the ego at the door. It's not about the big numbers. It's all about our bodies. We want to create strong, muscular bodies. And if you are strong and muscular and you're only pushing 135 pounds in your squat, well, guess what? You're still crushing it, because you're increasing that weight deliberately and you're making progress. So here you'll see just a quick recap. Fitness equals strength, conditioning, and nutrition. Well, the strength is covered by the Texas method. The conditioning we'll talk a little bit about up here on the weekly schedule. And nutrition, just the key is to stay, if you can, anabolic. Now, maybe you want to cut a little bit, that's fine. I would still recommend this breakdown of 40% protein, 40% carbs, and 20% fat for the intake that you have throughout the day. You of course need to figure out your total daily energy expenditure, but there's lots of calculators online that'll tell you that. And if you're cutting, just slice off 500 calories from that TDEE, and if you're bulking, add 500 calories to that TDEE, and keep it in those proportions. 40, 40, 20. Now let's get to the bread and butter of the full week, because down here we talked about the non-negotiable essential elements of the program. Up here, we're going to talk about the minutiae, the day-to-day. And you'll see that there's less detail here. And why? Well, because there needs to be room for modification. There needs to be room for you to adapt this training program to your particular life and your particular demands. The one thing that I'm going to put my foot down on, and that is absolutely essential, which is the core of the Texas method, are the items that are bolded and gray. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you have a busy week and you can't get things done, well, guess what? You're not going to miss Monday, Wednesday, and Friday's workouts. If you need to wake up in the morning early to get it done, well, that's when you do it. If you need to do it in a later afternoon when the things have kind of cooled down, or you have access to a barbell, well, that's when you got to do it. You got to make it happen. But the squat and bench volume day, the squat and deadlift back off day, and the intensity day, non-negotiable. You have to execute it. That alone would drive some serious adaptation and could have a huge impact on your health and your strength and your overall wellness. And just, you got to do it. But we can plus things up. We can make things even better if we add in a little bit of extra assistance work, or auxiliary exercises, or the stuff that kind of makes working out a little extra fun. So for Sunday, we'll start here at the beginning of the week, Sunday. That's a rest and recovery day. Do nothing more on Sunday than just drink tons of water, eat healthy food, take a good doggone nap, and go to bed early, and get yourself ready for the next week. Sunday's also a great day to come and check your linear progression, to come check your Challenger Texas method spreadsheet on the Google Sheet. Make sure that you have your dates, your reps updated for your max rep sets, and make sure that your measurements are up to date for all of the months. So August is coming up now. I'm about to knock this out maybe tonight or during this week, but I need to get my August numbers in there. Every single month, make sure you get these updated. And it's for you, doggone it. Now, when you get done and on that Sunday, as you're doing your little recap of the week, you'll notice that I've probably come in and highlighted a couple of like a column of your cells, meaning that you've accomplished and completed that week's training. And that's just a good way for me to keep track of it. If you want to do it, that's super fine. But what I want to see is that these columns, these cells, are getting colored in, filled in as we progress. By the time we get to week 12, you'll see all of this green leading up to the max week, and it'll give you that extra boost of confidence knowing that you have deliberately and systematically trained up to get those numbers, and you're gonna get them. So Monday is a really fun day. I really look forward to Mondays. It's the beginning of a new week. It's the beginning of new opportunities and challenges, and it's a chance to get in there and just move some weight, a chance to execute the program. So even now, I'm excited about tomorrow morning. I cannot wait to get up, wake up at 5, drink a pre-workout, and then roll down to the basement and get started. So Monday's volume day. We've talked ad nauseum about these two. Then we're also going to add in a couple other exercises. Now, if you can't get this all in a 45 to 50 minute time frame, well then these items here on the end, they are listed in order of importance. So squat happens first, in this order. Bench comes second, non-negotiable. If you're at 45 minutes and you only have 5 minutes left, then knock out a couple reps of incline bench, do a couple ab rollers, maybe a plank or two, and call it good. But you have to be done within 50 to 55 minutes. Now there was lots of discussion about whether or not this is, scientifically substantiated. Well, enough studies that I believe prove that your hormone levels start getting wacky after 45 to 50 minutes of intense physical training. When we're talking intensity with respect to poundage on the bar and level of effort. So we don't want to get into the level or to the position of diminishing returns. We don't get to the point where our body's hormones are getting saturated cortisol and we're catabolic and we're not able to produce muscle. We're not able to recover rapidly and we risk overtraining. So we're not going to get into that level of detail and concern. All we know, I'm just going to give you a line in the sand. If you're not done within an hour, stop what you're doing and walk away. Which I do think this is very doable. If you pay attention and you execute these sets and these reps and in this progression, you'll be done well within 55 minutes. But you got to be deliberate about it. One thing I didn't talk about below, but we'll talk about later, is rest and recovery between sets. I would say 3 minutes. Keep it around 3 minutes. No, not much less than 3, not much more than 3. Plus or minus 30 seconds on either side of that, but good 3 minutes of rest between sets. And if you're working out with your spouse or lifting buddy, that's probably just the right amount of time for them to get under the barbell, do their sets, and change the plates out. And by the time they're done, well, guess what? 3 minutes are up, and it's time for you to get back after it. So it will still go by pretty quick. But do some incline bench to keep targeting that chest. Hit some ab rollers to work that core trunk musculature. Do some planks and some crunches. These numbers are more bodybuilding-esque, and some would even argue, like true believers in powerlifting would say these are not that great for assistance work, and I just tell them, I don't care. I think these are fun, they're good exercises, they help you look aesthetic, and they kind of help fill in the gaps of the powerlifting program. Tuesday is just a pure fun day, it's arms day, so you notice it's not grayed out, it's not one of the non-negotiables, so if you're feeling a little worn out, you don't have it, well then maybe Tuesday just becomes an active recovery day. But for me, right now, I really love Tuesday as an arms day. So I'll do some chin-ups, do some barbell curls, some dumbbell curls. So 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 10. That's like your classic bodybuilding set rep setup that it supposedly enables a lot of hypertrophy. It's try to improve it enough where I believe in it, and I think it's just fun to do it. So dumbbell tricep extensions, weighted dips, and dumbbell press. If you can't do weighted dips, then just do dips. Oops, I pull that back. Wednesday is going to be another core day for the Texas method. It's a back off day. This is where we're really focusing in on our form and technique. So squats 2x5, deadlift 2x5. Notice we're not going for 5 reps plus. We're going to limit you at 5, and it's going to feel light and it's supposed to feel light. Then we're going to do some croc rows, which that's just basically a high repetition or a high volume bent over dumbbell row. So get some good croc rows or dumbbell rows in. Knock out some pull-ups for the back. Farmer's walk is where you just grasp 2 dumbbells in your hand and just go walk. And don't drop them for a minute. And you're going to see that is going to shred your traps. You're going to be very, very sore and tired. And it's also super good for your grip. And then do some TRX rows that works on stability and core work as well. Thursday is active recovery day. I would do a little bit of conditioning. Row for 20 minutes. Get some cardio in and get all warmed up. Then knock out some yoga. Work on some flexibility. Friday, and again, every single one of these days, it's no more than 1 hour of effort. Ideally, around 45 to 50 minutes. And then Friday intensity day, it's working up to one 5-rep max set on squat, on bench, on deadlift. Then, if you're not completely destroyed, which you may be destroyed after a couple weeks, like the first 3 or 4 weeks, you'll get this assistance work in and be like, oh, it's too easy. But after week 4, 5, 6, and 7 and beyond, this is going to be, you may not have anything left in the tank to knock this out. And if so, then don't feel bad, because you still had a victory up here. But if you do have some left in the tank, knock out some dumbbell lunges, some calf raises, and maybe a dead hang. That'll really just smoke that grip. Working on our grip strength and forearm strength that's an aspect of lifting that's very overlooked and very, very important. And that's something that translates to the day in day out, probably more than anything else, or arguably more than anything else. Saturday, we have another active recovery day. We'll do some handstands, some tumbling, free choice cardio. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. And when it comes to free choice cardio, you could walk, you could jog. You could bike, you could do metabolic conditioning, you could do on whatever you want. You could chase your kids around or walk your dog. Basically, get your heart rate up and sustain a elevated heart rate for about 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe even 25 to 45 minutes. But just get a bit of that in. I love mountain biking. I love road cycling. I love walking, going for a walk. But get that in. Enough studies have shown that consistent conditioning over time will actually help your strength training go up. They talk about that it accelerates blood flow, which helps nutrient transport, which helps muscle recovery and growth. Like, there's lots of stuff that's in the community, that's out there available that you can read, collegiate studies that are interesting. I just walked away knowing that they're not at odds with each other. You can strength train and you can do conditioning. Now, it's all within a balance. You definitely don't want to do conditioning within 3 hours of strength training, especially intense conditioning. So give it a little bit of time between your lifting workout and your conditioning workout. But doing them both, hey, that's phenomenal. And that's when we go back to these measurements. If we're not seeing progress for training like we hope to, like let's say you wanted to bulk and get more muscle, and we're not seeing any changes after 2-3 months or even a month, and you're doing a lot of conditioning, well, maybe we'll pull that back a little bit. We'll increase our total caloric surplus and see how that does. But then we might see our waistline start to grow too much, and we're like, whoa, okay, we'll pull back the caloric intake and up the conditioning a little bit. But we can play with those variables as long as you're keeping track of them. So this is the spreadsheet, and I want you to come back to this at least once a week, and ideally every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you can update your reps. But if not that, then at least on the Sundays, update your information, check your progress, and make sure we're staying on track. As you can see, Sarah is getting geared up, because in the next video, she will be demonstrating the proper technique for the squat, bench press, and deadlift. We'll see you next time.